Hello everyone, and welcome to today's first office hours at BI4Dynamics. My name is Mladen, I'll be your host today, and we are going to look at the things that we are doing in BI4Dynamics. So we are going to, first part of the office hours will be about what we are developing. We are going to showcase the technologies, the features that are new. The second part will be you may have some questions that you may have already posted to the poll gap, or you may add something to the chat and my team will help you formulate the question. And if something goes along, this is a live presentation. I'm sure that you will learn from troubleshooting, and I can also assure you that next time we'll do it better. So let's start with these office hours. The first part in this office hours is showcase of a new BI4Dynamics Write-back feature. And this is something that really is very useful. So what we have here is the standard BI4Dynamics architecture, where we have a data warehouse like Dynamics, some BC or AX legacy Dynamics, which we join in data warehouse, and we create store procedures and views, the data warehouse, which is then later transformed into semantic layer in a form of a tabular database. This can be local, Azure, Power BI. This is it. Now, to be clear, 99% of all the data transformation is in data warehouse. 1%, the easier part, is here. What I say easier, these are usually DAX expression, which means calculations, translations, hierarchies, not really something very difficult compared to the engine of a data warehouse transformation. It's a data warehouse itself, SQL database. Now, with the development of Power BI as a DAX front-end tool, a lot of users are using Power BI and doing modeling that actually it's kind of replacing a lot of functionality of the data warehouse, which is okay if a request is simple. So you create a simple model and you do not have a complex model to do, or scalable model, which means like 10, 100 million rows, that can, Power BI can suffer. So I 100% believe the data warehouse design is for Dynamics customers, which believe are a little more bigger or more demanding, is the right way to go. Now, what we noticed is that we can improve BI4Dynamics when we extend the functionality of Power BI as a modeling tool, which means that we can work on functionality that is natively in semantic layer in any form, local, Azure, or Power BI database, but still using the data warehouse automation. So we developed a feature called BI4Dynamics Write-back, which actually, in a simple form, writes back the DAX expression. So for example, you have a Power BI premium per user in your semantic layer, and you create very smart DAX expression that is currently available only to you. With our functionality, with just one click, you write it back. So it's available to everyone because it will no longer be in the report, but it will be in the server. I will show this. Now, actually, things are a little more complicated at writing back, because you can take tabular editor and script the measure back. It's like it's there. But the next time when data warehouse would push data into semantic layer, that would be gone. So that would be simply be lost, overwritten, that would not work. So we actually have to write this. We have to create a system where the DAX expression that someone is creating goes standard way, all the way from data warehouse and then to semantic layer. So that is important, so that we still can use the data warehouse automation, which is really very good to joining the tables, to do the modeling way faster and more powerful than you would do with a Power BI. Now, the schema that looks just for data warehouse with Power BI modeling in details is the one here. So what do we have here? Now, we begin with semantic layer or in a form of a tabular database. And this is connecting to a report. Report is Power BI report that we provide out of the box will not work. Why? Because reports are in live connection. So first things we have to do is to change from live connection to direct query, which works for version SQL 22. All versions for Azure and Power BI services also. In 2019, you must be on enterprise standard, would probably not work. So you have more choices when you are in newer version of a tabular database. We could work it also for lower versions, but you do not have that many options. So here, so you would develop a new calculation, and with connecting external tool, which is in external tool, an option would pop up with BI4Dynamics Write-back. You log in and send the request. So this is what you see, because you are doing it from your computer and you don't see what's going on further from here. Now this request is written to a storage account and it's waiting to be managed. The BI server is the server that's hosting the data warehouse and also the write-back server component, because what we are doing is a write-back client component. This server component is checking, hey, something new here for me? No, it's nothing. Okay, I'll check in 5 minutes again. Something new? No. Something new? No. And when it's new, when the new file is sent, said, finally, here is a request. I'm passing it to data warehouse application. So I'm passing this to this guy here, okay? And then this guy says, you have a new measure, you have a new calculation group. Fine, I'm sending this to the semantic layer. Same way as we would send some change on the data warehouse, and then the last leg would be semantic layer here. So that the measure that we create or an object that we do is equally valid, because it's the same from this perspective as it would be done from scratch from data warehouse. It's using the same tool. And then once we have it in the semantic layer, it's no longer the measure that was previously available only in this report is not only in this report, but it's available everywhere. Everyone who connects this and has a permission to that application area will be able to consume this. Now in real life, this looks way easier than me talking all the time. So let me show how this works. Now for the beginning, you may have seen these are our standard BI4Dynamics reports. And they are rich in content, they are overwhelming. However, and they are by default connected to semantic layer in a live connection. It means that schema is on tabular database and data are in the tabular database. And that's okay. We don't want to change this. So I would not suggest to use the same report for development, because actually what we are doing, we are developing new measure. So I would rather create a new report. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to create a new report. This is my new report. Actually, also the model behind is simpler. And what is important is this is in mixed mode. Actually, mixed means import and direct query. In terms of the relationship toward the tabular database, it is in the direct query connection mode. That's important here. This is important because apart from new measures, I can also go to the model view and create calculation groups, which is another very popular functionality since October. And you can also see this is new things that came with latest release in December. So this is, you need to be really in a direct query mode for the beginning. So we have a small model here. I don't have a 50 transactional table. I just choose the things that I need from a direct query, because in the direct query you select which table you want to use. So I chose sales order and sales transaction. I have customer item, not much. Okay, so we are going to create a DAX expression. Now we have sales and not much else here too. And what we are going to do is create a new measure, and we are going to create a new measure, which I already created here. I'm just going to copy this guy here. So I'm doing a max of sales transactions based on the need sales. So whatever it is, the max in the line, I want to see it. Okay, DAX expression can be very complex, as you know, but just do something which is simple to control. And I put it into the report. I have something, and I want to put it into the folder of, let's say, the document statistics. Let's say we have one document per line. So this max would be here in the folder document statistics. Okay. Good. So this is in this folder here, and it's solely available in my report. Now we have a reference connection, and this is Excel. So this is how end users would see this. End users connected to the same model would not have the changes that are only available in the report. They are what is available in the model here. So the database is Power BI dataset. This is this guy here, Power BI D365 Write-back. It's hosted in Power BI service under the premium per user license. And I'm just going to refresh this here. I was refreshing the connection. So let me just do once again. Should work. So we just need to see the need cells. You can see we have a need cells, and we don't have, so this is also sales order transactions, and we don't have max. So this is what user would see, okay? And this is a normal live connection here. So we are just ready to send this to server. So we go to external tool, Write-back. This opens on another screen, and this is the interface. So I'm just going to deliver the application, and first I need to sign in because only the registered users can be accepted. Code from registered users can be accepted. So I have here max invoice. I will explain the interface later, and I'll just select this measure and send this to the BI server. And I want to have a friendly name, max amount, just to easier track. Okay, now the server part, the client part is done. So if I go back to Power BI, this part we created max, we opened Write-back client, and with one click we send this to the storage. So the server part is on its own. I just have to close this, and we are now waiting for server to react. Now server will react based on the frequency of this inquiry, and frequency depends on your nature of the work. In our case, this is set to 3 minutes, but you can set it to more minutes. It really depends. It doesn't cost you anything to check each time. If something is going on in Azure storage, it will work fine with any update. What is important is if BI server is offline, it's okay, because it may work only once a day in the morning or at midnight to process data. So this application will run first time the BI4Dynamics server is up and running, and that no one is working. So if a developer is working on a model, then it's not a good idea that another application sends a request and wants to write also to the model. So The rule is that no one should work on that instance. You may have multiple instances, but the instance that is source for our report will also receive this DAX expression, and no one should work in this part here. So this is why you are fine if you do it today, you'll get it tomorrow. If tomorrow will be the first refresh, and after processing, the BI4Dynamics will go to a pause, and you are able to run it will run automatically, of course, the write-back server component here. So now we are waiting for this to happen, so we can go back to our application so that I explain this interface. At the moment when we were saying, hey, what are the differences in our application? This is actually what this application does. It looks for the differences between the local model, the model that is in my Power BI report, and semantic layer that everyone else will see. Now, I have two differences. One is this max expression, which we did, and another one is calculation group. This is calculation group, which I will demonstrate later. But I decided only to send this measure because, let's say, this is not ready, okay? And this is at the moment. So when I send, I can check what's going on with a request. So at the time when I was sending this request, okay, now it's already done. This max amount holds a JSON file which was sent. It was in a status, it was created, and then it was sent. And now it's already, first it was processing, now it's already completed. So first the status is sent, then it's processing and completed. And it could be also error. So this is the log of all the requests. This is what we did today. This is what we have all time. And also if, for example, some other user were using, we will see. So what we see here is everything that is in the license, because this is the license key that takes care about uniqueness of the requests. And this is the information of the instance, so where the data are holding. Unintentionally, you can work on development and you think you are in production, vice versa. So this should trigger your alert so that you are in the right model. And so again, going to request status. This is somewhere where you are just checking what is going on here. And you may say, hey, no, this is not the same case because it's like Central European time, it's 3 o'clock, because you are live streaming. Well, actually, we choose to have the GMT, which is 1 hour behind our time. And the reason for that is because a lot of clients have businesses in multiple zones. And yeah, we could say, let's bring the timing based on the head office timing, but that would complicate with some settings and so on. So we said, okay, let's just do the GMT time. It's unique, it's recognized. Let's just keep this timing. That's why you have the timings and timestamps on the GMT. Okay. And now when I'm in the refresh, I'm refreshing if something is new in terms of the status report, or if something is new regarding the delta. So now let's go first into our Excel, okay, and refresh our Excel. So this is how other users would see this, okay? So let's see what we have in Excel. Okay, so it created a document statistic. Let's just put it into the big picture here so that we have the same experience. It created a folder and max invoice is here. So it was not hard. It was like 99% of time me talking, but actually it was just one click. And it created also the same folder here. So this is what users would see. It can be Excel, can be Power BI, can be any other front-end part. So this is good. Now, going back to our development report. This is the report. Now, after we are going to refresh, you can expect that we'll have duplicate measure. The one that is already here, a max expression that was written manually, and the one that's going to come from a server on a refresh, because I still have this report open, otherwise on open this would happen. So let's just do the refresh. I'm doing the direct query. It will see, hey, the model that you added has another object. So it says, well, we found out duplicates. So this is the experience that end users will not have. This is the experience that you as a developer have, and said, okay, got it, no problem, I have control. So, and look, now the first measure is DAX expression that we did manually, and the second one is not editable, and it has the tooltip because it's written in our syntax. It is like, if you see below here, return if 0 then blank. So that's additional to the base expression here. So what do we do if we have already the report or something that we did before for ourselves? So of course, first here we delete from the model this guy here because it's no longer needed. So the report will break, but no problem at all. Now you can go here to the second measure that comes from a server and just rename it. This is nice because the report will not break, it'll just pick up this back. So also if you did some nice dashboards, visuals, put it into some few spots, nothing will be lost. So that easy is this write-back feature, and you see it's not difficult at all. So let's execute this write-back again. So let us go back to our write-back client, and we see two objects are different, measure and calculation group. So after I refresh, this measure shall no longer be registered as difference because now it's gone from the local model. So everything I have is in the server. So you see this is done. And what we are going to do is just now select all objects. I'm going to send calculation group. So now this would be a real life situation where all the explanation is already clean. And I'm just sending this to server, and I'm just saying something as a name, calculation group, let's say 2. Okay, and we are good. We are good, nothing else. I can go for a coffee, come back, and I expect the calculation group will be here. So what are the calculation groups? I mean, calculation groups are super useful things, and there are multiple usages of calculation groups. Most commonly is used for script some time intelligence based on selected measures. We are using a lot calculation groups as financial statements where we calculate profit and loss statement based on the GL accounts. So that's a lot. Now, in our case, you can see I was doing calculation groups based on time intelligence, when on base measure here is our net sales, and calculation groups has 3 members, and these members have a different expression here. So I'm just going to show in a second here. So whatever you can support with calculation groups, this will be able to be implemented in BI4Dynamics. And it's especially good time is because since I think December, we have this view model, and this model view here, or was it November? I don't remember exactly, where we can create calculation groups from within Power BI. So it means that previously we're having only tables. We could not do much more. And now we are in the calculation groups, and you can see this part here. I have option to manually write this part here. It means that if I would do a new calculation item, I'm just going to do something not super smart. I'm just going to put something like this. Okay, total month date minus 100. It doesn't really matter. So now I have the way to create calculation group. This is a table which has calculation items. In our case, the name is date comparison, nothing else. And this measure here is selected measure. This is commonly usage. And you can see this is the new member here, which we just did it, a few minutes. It was not there. So what we are waiting is that calculation groups come from a server so that it will be available to everyone, also to our friends using Excel. Okay. While we are waiting, we can go back and see how long does it take. So in this case, if you are really up to speed to see what's going on. You can see what is going on in last hour for current user. So calculation group 2 is already done. Now, one thing, it's not done in 1 minute, but it just means that it pick up the request, and the request usually would take 1.5 or 2 minutes. Depends on the size of the model. So our model is very tiny, so that it makes a really quick update. If you would have the full BI4Dynamics, it may take about 30 seconds more or 45 seconds more. So it's still good. It's still not big deal here. So we have to wait for this to come. Let's see if this is already refreshed. So we'll get calculation groups. This is a new model here. So it's not showing here. It's not showing here. Let me see where I get these calculation groups, because it's a table, and you can see this is a table. This table is date comparison. So let me just drop this guy here and put a situation like I did in Excel. So I'll put this to the column and do it on a yearly measure. Now I think this data goes like this, and date expression will be like here. And you can see I have here calculation groups, which previously was not. So this is again what my user would see. And calculation group can be also inserted as a slicer, because that's what the benefit of calculation group is. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. So where is the guy? It's called date comparison. So this is always sorted alphabetical. Date comparison, you can see this is the member, the table behind this. This is a table. And okay, let's just choose first two. We say this is in the working here. Now, previously, before this was integrated in Power BI, we were doing calculation groups in tabular editor and use that script and bringing it into BI4Dynamics. Now you can do it directly with Power BI, and one click you send it there. Now, Power BI is really good in any case, because you visualize the measure and you fine-tune the formula until you're 100% sure this is the right way. And the visual will tell you a lot if you're on the right path or not. Good. So let's do the same exercise as before. I'm refreshing the model from a server, and I'm going to get alert. Hey, you again have a duplicate. I love this error. I love this message a lot, because it means success. Okay, got it. So again, we have calculation groups date and date. So we are going to delete this. I can delete from the model. And the one that is new here is this one here, rename. Okay, here, let me do this part here, because it must be from here on. Let me do refresh again, because what I'm doing now, it was fine with Excel. I'm still having this guy here from prior. No, this is not here. This was the reason. Okay, so this was before. That was the error here. I was having this, what I added later manually, another element mount date here. That's fine. So this is about write-back. Now, implication of the write-back if you are a client or if you are a partner. So let me show you what we believe is a good point. So we have here a development report. This is not a user report, because it's better, I would say. And if you are a client, then you would have one or more reports for each instance that you do. And each report would say, hey, this is a write-back functionality where I develop something and I send to my dev instance. And this is where I do something where it's my prod instance, production instance, or the instance that you do here. It's okay. Now, if you are a partner and you just came to a very bright idea that this DAX expression is really very good, and you want to share it to your clients, whether you charge it or not, it's totally your deal. But all you need to do is to have the list of the clients where you are connecting to these reports. Of course, you need to have their login, and it would probably not work if database is locally, because then you would not be able to do it from your computer. But if it's Azure in the Power BI, which is most common these days, definitely. So you would open each time one report, inject the measure, click write, and next time it will open a new report, another connection, a new report, another connection. So you could quickly serve many clients from one space and add a lot of functionality and a lot of added value to multiple clients at the same time. Now, this was the write-back functionality. And what we are going to do now is to look if you have any questions. We look at the pool gaps. And yeah, I would say, do you have any questions? But obviously I don't hear you. So just write something in the chat, or we are going to look at the questions that you might have put in the pool gap. So let me go into the pool gap. And in order to have the pool gap, I'm going to close this part here. Okay. Okay, here it is. I know that some questions were ready from before, but I'll just address first what is related to the write-back. So the question, how much write-back functionality costs? It doesn't cost you anything. It's a standard feature in Standard and Enterprise Edition. Whether you are using Business Central or Finance Operation, we are releasing this on 1st of February, and the new BI4Dynamics revision or application are going to be updated on our web page. Upgrading latest version should not be a problem for sure if you are on 6 to 9 months back. I would guess that should not be a problem. If you have an older version, I would say it depends. Really contact your partner or drop a email to support so that we can help you out if you can use BI4Dynamics Write-back or not. Of course, you have to be current with subscription or enhancement. If you're enhancement based, then you cannot use the latest version. Also, the write-back would not work. Does BI4Dynamics eliminates modeling? No, of course not. We are just complementing what you already have a lot of skills, and so we still use your experience and knowledge of DAX and power scalability and fast development with data warehouse. We are actually complementing, and you choose where you want to go with Power BI and how far we go with BI4Dynamics. Can I integrate data with write-back functionality? At the moment, I would say no. This is a tricky question. Can I integrate? Because to integrate, it means that you would bring other sources or tables that you did where you were integrating something in this direct query mode. So probably it's possible to extend the functionality of write-back as it is now, because currently we have measures, which is most common, calculation groups, which is super useful, and with a model view, it's just the right moment to use it. We can do easily parameters, and the rest we will see. We will see how much trouble there is for developing and adding some more functionality through Power BI and to be embedded to the tabular bubbles. Otherwise, it's possible. Yes, it is possible. And still use data warehouse. Does BI server needs to run? Yeah, we got these questions when we were interacting with partners a lot these days. So no, the server doesn't have to run. The server can be, BI server can be totally detached, offline in Azure, deallocated, nothing going on. And when it opens the BI4, when it starts running, let's say it's 6 o'clock in the morning, it will first process latest data from the cloud, and then the task manager will trigger and bring in the new things like we did right now in this case. Okay, so this is what is related to the write back. Now the most upvoted question is about D365, and actually I'm not surprised because every day I'm answering at least 1 or 2 sessions about this. So today I had already 2. So what the question is about, let me bring the Power BI, the picture of the schema, and I'm going back to from the pool gap view, I'm going back to screen view. So let's just go with this guy here. So the question is, what happens next, or what's going on with ETL? So you know that Microsoft, this is a question related to finance and operation. It's not related to BC. BC has, it's not related here. So in November, Microsoft deprecated export to lake. Export to lake, first it deprecated a feature, so this feature can no longer be added to new clients, so to new installations. Even if you have been using it for a finance and operation for a long years, you could no longer install. And this is needed to export select tables and export it to the CSV file. Now, it doesn't mean that export doesn't work, only the new installations can no longer activate this extension because it's extension in finance and operation, and you cannot do it. Okay, so the export is still working. This is Microsoft control service. You don't control it. You just select the tables, and it's Microsoft running it. It doesn't cost you anything. It just lands the tables in the CSV format in Azure storage. Now they said, oh, this is a great functionality. It took us 2 years to stabilize. We are happy, but we are deprecating it. And on November 15, it will no longer work. This export will be idle. It will no longer work. So it's time to move on. Now you can move on now or on the 14th of November. So there is still some time. But alternative are these. First option is, so you don't have to do anything in finance and operation more. Now the interface is Dataverse. Dataverse is the database layer of Power Platform. And you may think, oh, doesn't really matter. Now the first thing that matters a lot is that finance operation has this service only in bigger data center. So everything that is related to the Dataverse is everywhere, because this is the Microsoft data platform. So it's not just in big data centers or regions, it's everywhere. So this is good news for those who were in smaller region and you could not activate this functionality. So what it's about? So it's a link, it's interface where you select tables, and these tables in the first option land in CSV format as CSV format in export link. CSV format is CSV format. The table structure, folder structure is quite different. So old scripts to get this data further will not work. You have to redo this. And what we are using is Synapse Serverless. It's a very economic way to get this data into data warehouse. So what is the speed of this transformation? It is the same as it was before. So I can tell you, for example, where one client has about 250 to 300 gigabyte data, it takes 5 minutes to get data from CSV format into staging area. 5-6 minutes, because it's incremental. It's very smart how the flags are done. So you have soft delete, and it's very good from our development perspective. But of course, the effort to do for one client or for a few clients is big, but we'll do for thousands of clients, so it doesn't really matter. No one will pay for this feature here. It's already, if you are subscribed to BI4Dynamics there. So this is the first option, which also is most economical, and it's also the fastest because there is no middleman. We take the data and inject it into the data warehouse staging area. We put data area ID, company ID, something like that, and that's it. Pretty much very, very, very good. And it's fast. Now, the other way is if you don't want to, if you are not using BI4Dynamics and you don't have resources, even if you are a partner, we hear many partners don't want to rewrite the interface again because it's a different interface, similar, but still a work to do. And it's quite critical to do it right. So they said, oh, we would rather do one more leg of transformation and take this CSV file into delta per K file format files. And if I use one leg and make shortcut, then it behaves as SQL endpoint in one leg. And that's great. That's better than this because SQL is more readable. It's more manageable than CSV format. However, there is a cost related to this transformation. So you have to configure Synapse Spark Pool, which costs, it starts from $1.50 per hour and it can go up a lot. And even if cost is not the crucial part, it is another guy doing something, which means data are not available here, data available here. So you can set up this Spark conversion on some intervals, let's say 15 minutes or 60 minutes or 1 day, depends. And that's where you will be running this conversion. And depends on capacity, and this is something that it will do the transformation and you will be able to do the one lake as a starting point of the data. You still select this data, these tables manually. There is unfortunately today, that's January 24, still no API, which is really a shame that you still have to do, or we have to select these tables manually, but that's it. Now, the best option is just to install another link. You just put in parameter and your credit card and just say, wow, I don't want to bother with these APIs or not, tables or not. I just want to have all tables in one lake and that's it. Well, great. So it's here, it's SQL endpoint. It's like SQL replica. It's here, nothing else. Yeah, there is like some latency in between. Let's say 1 hour, it will go down for sure to maybe 30 minutes, 15 minutes. So definitely it'll go down, but the concept is similar. It's just managed by Microsoft. You don't see this. You don't see this transformation. You just see this guy here available, all tables. Now the problem is that, and I hope it will change, that the cost is quite substantial, even for finance and operation clients who usually have deep pockets, because if this is costing for processing once a day, most of the clients would pay from $20 to maximum $100, but usually about few $10. It's not a lot. So this would cost few $100, and this one would go into few $1,000s. It would probably start with 3,000 to 5,000 for smaller database and how it is calculated based on the size of the data in Dataverse. So when you select this link, all the data, even you have a document system, you have RFID transactions, which are not analytical. You don't want to have them. They still come as a package. Once we had one client where 2/3 of the F&O data were non-analytical, but yeah, here is the thing. And based on the size of the data here in the Dataverse, you pay $40 per month. So if you would have, let's say 100 gigabyte of data, it means the database would be probably 200 because this is slightly compressed already, depends on the structure, then this would cost you $4,000. It's more than $70 or $50 that would cost you here. Process once a day. Of course, you have all tables and it's 24/7 with this delay where you are, updating this data. There is some refresh rate for this part here. So comfort, yes. Easy to manage, yes. Easy to use credit card and consume credit also. So hopefully the price will go down, and long term this will be the best solution. For our clients, this is the best solution because it's most economical and faster. If you have some data that would need sourcing not just CSV files, but you have another transformation needed outside of the data warehouse that's fed by Synapse, then you would go for this one leg transformation, and you would use BI4Dynamics going this way. And for some tables, you would go from here on for using something that is not BI4Dynamics. So this would be quite a longer version of what's going on, because again, I'm repeating this every day, and 1-2 session, it's a lot, and people don't follow as much as it is happening. So I guess this would be explanation for the third question. Let me go back poll gap here. Let me just bring this guy here. So we have answered this. Does BI4Dynamics can I integrate? No, I think this is it. And this is it. So yeah, I think we are at the end of our first office hours. Everything went really very well. And I really thank you for patient being on the first hours. We will organize these office hours as soon as we have something new. In the next 6 months, we'll have a lot of new functionalities, technologies. We'll have a platform release, SaaS. So just stay tuned and you will hear a lot of new things from us. Thank you, everyone, and see you at next office hours. Goodbye.